listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey!
We got a lot to talk about this week, last week before we hit our Extreme Rules preview, but I want to dedicate a good little time to the best segment of the week, and that is Sami Zayn, the Bloodline, Jey Uso, the honorary Uso shirt. This thing blew up. This thing is storytelling, man.
Yeah, this was such an amazing segment. When I watched it on demand on Hulu, so I didn't watch it live. But it was such an amazing feeling to watch it play out. You see everything they're putting over Solo as an enforcer, which is what they needed to do, and then you have Sami Zayn just interrupt them leaving, like, I want to be part of this too. I want to do something. Let me do something. And then they fake out that this is the moment that the Bloodline is turning on Sami. And it was all masterly told through the mannerisms and the voice and stuff that Roman did. And you see the glee in Jey Uso's eyes as he gets to rip the shirt off of Sami because he thinks this is the moment they're going to be rid of him. Only for Roman to reveal that, no, he doesn't want to win a Bloodline shirt because he has his own Bloodline shirt.
Yeah, it's so well done. Like, obviously Sami Zayn gets the honorary Uso shirt at the end. He vaguely gets acknowledged. And yeah, as you said, I think the highlights just go to Jey Uso's facials and mannerisms, whether it was, being happy to be able to kick Sami out, to being confused and distraught when they give him a shirt. You can tell something's boiling there, Yeah. And if you think back to how this all started, Jimmy fell in line, Solo chose to join, Sami wants to join, and Jey was brutally beaten by his cousin over and over and over until he was forced to join. So, bit of storytelling from a yearish ago. A couple years even.
Yeah. It wasn't even that. It was that Sami just tagged along.
True.
Literally, that's what they said in the promo. He just tagged along and made himself part of the group. He's not family or anything. He's not blood. But Solo was sent by the elders of the Samoan, supposedly. So that's the story they're going with. And I think it's such an amazing story that they're building. And that's why, even after 2 years, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline is still the best thing going in wrestling. Because they find ways to change it up. They find ways to make it better and better and to keep you invested in the storyline. And we all know eventually it is going to come crashing down for Sami. It's not going to last forever. But I think that's going to give us one of his brightest moments is he's going to have a Universal title match against Roman Reigns. I feel it in my bones that maybe TLC in December or whatever the December pay-per-view is called. I don't know what this is. I'm not looking. Maybe that's when you could have him. You could have the blow up some way between there and Survivor Series. Maybe have him either straight up take the loss in the War Games match, or he's the guy that wins the match and he starts getting ideas and stuff. And Roman wants to put him in his place and effectively kicks him out of the group, and he gets a title shot. And an actual title shot, not a 3-second match. Like last time.
Yeah, if I'm looking ahead at this storyline and what we can do with the Bloodline, I got one hope for it. I don't think we're going to do it, but it's one thing I'd like to do. I would like to see there be, a reason that Jey Uso can't make it. If we're going to work an injury with him, I think would probably be the easiest way. And then have Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso defend the tag team titles on behalf of the Usos.
Oh, that would get Jay's goat. That would, especially if they managed to retain the titles.
Yep.
Oh my god, that would really get to him.
I want that. Give me that.
Yeah. I'd be down for that. I'd say at the program not to be named. Well, for never mind. Sammy's not allowed there. Never mind. I was going to say maybe do it there, but I just stopped myself in mid-sentence.
Yeah, there's opportunities around, even if they want to tell it that sort of story piece on a SmackDown, or Raw even, they're across both shows. You could get quite a bit of juice out of it, even just having, him work an injury for a couple of weeks. I don't think that's the way it's going, but I do think I would thoroughly enjoy that piece of storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, just everything about the story has been great. Sami is a bigger star today than he's ever been, and he is going to get a massive pop when he finally does break off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the fans are really taking to him. He had his comedy match at WrestleMania, which was a great match.
Yeah.
And we figured that's probably the biggest he was ever going to be. And he's just worked this whole Bloodline storyline into something that's actually got people gripped.
Yeah. And it truly feels like without this added kink into the end with Sami Zayn that, the Bloodline was starting to run its course, but now it's like a breath of fresh air, or it's been injected with new energy. And, you're reinvested again. That's always going to be the case when you have a storyline that's been running this long, and one that involves all of the championships ever. As much as I love this, I do think there should probably be a couple not involved in this, but if we're sticking to one world title and one tag team championships, then this is where we're going to be rolling. But yeah, be interesting to see where they take this Bloodline storyline forward now. With Sami, we're probably fresh up until December. Then we got Rumble, then we got WrestleMania. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah. Heck, I would even be down for them doing a dual win at the Rumble and have both Cody and Sami win, and then force Roman to defend both titles from both nights.
Yeah. I've also got questions around what's going to happen with this Elders piece of the Bloodline. Given, they wrote that out as the reason of why Solo Sikoa showed up, is that going to play into the bigger storyline, or is it a throwaway line to get him in there?
I think it's going to be part of this overall storyline. I think it has to it eventually involves The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know when. Everybody expects WrestleMania. I don't know. I'm not sure about it. I would say personally, I think I would go with the double, with just making Roman over cocky and have him defend both titles at WrestleMania, and in the main event of both shows, and then have him face Rock at maybe SummerSlam.
Yeah, we all know Roman versus Rock is the money. It's just where, when, and how are the real questions around that one. And another thing with the Elders that I guess I just really like to pee off Jey Uso here. But you could have Rikishi come back and acknowledge Sami Zayn as an honorary Us, given the rest of his family or his direct children in that ring. It would be kind of funny if Rikishi came back and acknowledged Sami.
I mean, he did do it on Twitter.
That's true. Is Twitter canon? That's a good question.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bloodline, they had an amazing tag team title defense on SmackDown.
Yeah.
The match between them and the Brawling Brutes was phenomenal. And it fed into the storyline of the overarching Bloodline storyline as well. Because you had Zayn trying to help out and getting yelled at by Jey. And Jey, do you want a DQ? Or Sami, do you want a DQ? While he's trying to fight with Butch and stuff. And it was just pure gold. It's told layers and layers and layers of storyline. And then it interdirected the storyline of Sheamus and Gunther from 2 weeks from now. As well. And it's it's that interwoven storyline that you love that goes on throughout the entire show.
Yeah. Where it makes it all feel interconnected. And this has kind of spun my mind up again. We know War Games is coming with Survivor Series down the line. What if we did take a NXT War Games approach, and instead of doing, a 5 versus 5, we ended up with like a 3v3v3, and we got the Brawling Brutes and Sheamus taking on all of Imperium, taking on a combination, whether it's the Usos and Sami, or a combination from the Bloodline. Could be an interesting way to do it.
Could be, but I feel like the money for War Games, the reason you brand it that, the reason you bring it up to the main roster is for the Bloodline itself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
they do have a lot
watering, of them. So I do think, and I think bringing Solo up as well, I think also kind of waters down your idea, because I think you have, if you're not going to have 5-on-5, you would have to have at least 4-on-4. And at that point, you can't do 3 teams.
Boo.
So I think it'll be all 5 members of the Bloodline in the match.
Yeah, it's definitely the most likely outcome. I just want to see more of Imperium and Brawling Brutes going at it, man. Just give me that forever.
Yeah. I do think there'll be some respect earned through these upcoming weeks between them. And you could even possibly see them in the other team.
Yeah.
You could have the Brawling Brutes and Imperium and Sheamus in some combination in the match against the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to have to wait and see. We spent the entire first half of this show just talking about the Bloodline. That shows you how they are the most important storyline through the WWE right now. And it is time to go to our entrance theme of the week. And if I've got this correctly, it is Tony D'Angelo's theme, A Seat at the Table.
It's all about family.
And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. We take the Bloodline, we put him on a shelf for now, because we got some other things to talk about. We've got our match seemingly official. The women are still hidden against each other. They've still got their little 3v3 going, but looks like we're going to be climbing a ladder to get the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah, at least it's a singles match.
Mm.
And I don't know. I think there's going to be something wonky that's going to happen in the match. And I think Bayley comes out on top, but we'll see. That may change my opinion may change between now and next week. But I think there'll be a screwy finish with that ladder. And that's what the ladder can provide. It can provide an opportunity for a screwy finish that protects Bianca.
Yeah.
While putting the title on Bayley. So it'll be a great match. But we'll have to see the outcomes and stuff. But yeah.
I'm going to bounce around like a madman because I'm going to head over to NXT now. We just played his theme, Tony D'Angelo. He was in a North American title ladder match qualifier match against Wesley. Unfortunately, looks like he didn't do too well in that match. Took a nasty fall, and Wesley will be moving on in the qualification.
Yeah, they stopped the match abruptly. It definitely was not a intended ending.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the ending of that match is just gut-wrenching. Whether you're Wesley, who wants to win, who was given the opportunity to be straight into the title match, or not, and decided he wanted to earn his way in, proper way, and he has the match with Tony D'Angelo, and D'Angelo gets hurt severely. The look on his face just says everything when you look back at it, because he's mixed with concern, because when you work in these locker rooms, whether you like the guy or not, you still respect them for the most part. There are exceptions. In the past, there have been exceptions. But you still respect them, and if they get hurt, you still worry about them. So there was that, and he was also playing into the storyline of Lee, things happening to Lee, or around Lee. So I feel like Lee was going to win. I think that was was going to be the outcome. But it definitely has a much sour note with knowing that we're probably not going to see the Dawn for 9 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always super unfortunate when an injury comes out in a match like that. Yeah, it sucks. I will jump to the main event of NXT, though. It was Briggs and Jensen versus Gallus in a pub rules match. And it ended, Briggs Jensen did pretty well, but then Gallus just used the numbers game and beat the HE double hockey sticks out of them until they ended up getting handcuffed and, I believe, suspended.
No, actually, that's not how it ended.
I'm sorry.
No, they wanted to keep fighting after they got knocked out and got pinned by Briggs and Jensen. Security came out and held them back. Security got punched. Then a referee got punched.
Gotcha. Can't be assaulting referees.
Yeah. So now Gallus, the entire group, including Joe Coffey, who was banned, by the way, but still showed up.
Of course.
Because banning people from ringside does nothing. Just the same as banning them from arena. It's nothing. They still wanted to fight, so they punched them, and now they're suspended. So, but it was an amazing match. I really enjoyed it. I think if they hadn't have gone with the ending that they went with, I think it would have definitely been I kind of, at least for Gallus's point of view, I kind of respect these guys. They're tough.
Yeah.
But then they did the ending that shows you they're not done. This feud isn't over yet.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of this one, right? Is just to portray Gallus as that strong, dominant, do anything to win, keep fighting, brutal kind of tag team or a trio. And they certainly did it. That is the perception.
Yeah, and then Briggs and Jensen are just two good old boys that want to fight.
Sometimes it's the simple gimmicks.
I mean, it worked for the APA.
That's true. Talking about the opposite of simple gimmicks, back on Raw Judgment Day, we got ourselves a few different storylines happening at one time. We're trying to recruit AJ Styles into the Judgment Day, and then beat him up when he says no. And Edge is back and challenging Finn to I Quit matches. And yeah, we've got ourselves Edge and AJ Styles seemingly on the bad side of Judgment Day.
Yeah, but more importantly, we had a match involving Seth Rollins, Dominic Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio, and it was not involving Dominic Mysterio getting beat up.
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio coming into his own here as well, definitely.
Yeah, and the smirks and everything between him and Seth was amazing. It's all part of that whole. It was an overarching storyline, just like you like.
Yeah, Judgment Day was the storyline here.
Yeah, you had them gaining ground and momentum. You have Edge returning and wanting an I Quit match for a definitive finish to the feud between him and Judgment Day. You have more and more Dominic going out of his way to mess with his own father to try, I guess, to get him to eventually want to fight him.
Good old Kane and Undertaker.
Yeah. And then you have AJ Styles, who is now in the receiving club of the Beat Up AJ Styles Club, which is a remix of the Beat Up John Cena Club.
Yeah. It does seem as though AJ Styles will just be next after Edge. I feel like they want to move Edge on, and this I Quit match is the way to do it.
I don't know who's going to win that match, honestly.
Oh, no. That's a harder question.
Yeah, that's going to be a harder question. If it was involving John Cena, that's a foregone conclusion. John Cena doesn't lose I Quit matches. But it should be fun. It should be a fun match. And everything that's just spawning together is just telling a overarching story that's enjoyable. It's definitely the B overarching story of the overall show of WWE, but it's an overarching story nonetheless.
Yeah, because with it as well, obviously, it was Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio at the start of the card where Dominic was being involved, and then our last match was Matt Riddle versus Damian Priest, and we ended up going off the air with Seth and Matt being in a big brawl as well. So that also weaved its way through with this Judgment Day storyline as they combined it all up, and we're getting a few stories all told at once.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just how they have to do it to tell the better story, is to have it work with other stories. And this Riddle Rollins feud has been amazing. The fact I don't really care that it's going in a fight pit, but it is what it is. I would like Riddle to win this, and then they would have to do a third match. To kind of maybe do it in a Hell in a Cell at the unnamed pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But it should be it should be an enjoyable match, and everything just seems to be going much smoother now that things are starting to shake out after the initial tremors of Vince's leaving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're slowly wrapping up the old stories and spinning in some new ones for sure. We started refreshing our roster, we started bringing people back, debuting people, and that includes bringing back Candice LeRae.
Yes, who beat Nikki in about 3 minutes and made Nikki cry.
Yeah, made Nikki cry and tear off her mask. What are we going with here? First off, another great talent into the women's division, but the Raw women's division. That division is utterly stacked at this point. And
yeah, it's possible. It's maybe just been that, hey, Johnny's on Raw right now. Let's put Candice with him.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. As you said, it is a case of, yeah, there isn't much in the cupboard for SmackDown's women.
It's almost like we need a shake-up or a draft or something.
Yeah, which the rumored one did not happen.
No.
Oh well. Maybe it might come to play after the show that shouldn't be named, or Survivor Series or something. But we'll have to see on that. But or maybe unify the titles and just get rid of dual divisions.
We'll have to see, but another important aspect obviously is Nikki. Don't know if she's leaning towards a character change here or what she's up to doing, but seemingly gonna boost her little star by losing as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I would have her, if you were going to change her character, I wouldn't go back to the crazy one. I know everybody wants crazy Nikki Cross. I would go in a different direction. Because I would go with the you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain storyline. And I'd have her become Nikki ASV, and almost a super villain.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't quite know what they're going to be doing moving forward with Nikki. Similar with Alpha Academy, they're having a bit of a hard time at the moment. They had Gargano and Owens on Raw, they're heading to Braun Strowman on SmackDown, but we can't end the show this week without mentioning Dexter Lumis taking out the entire Miz force before getting his target.
Yeah. This has just been so weird and entertaining and stuff. It's just like they're making our boy look like an absolute monster just by him taking out a bunch of people and always seeming to find a way to get to Miz.
Yeah, very different kind of monster to like a just like big scary Braun Strowman kind of type. This is like the boogeyman living under your bed kind of monster.
Yeah. It's always going to be pretty weird because it is basically a stalker that is somehow getting his target every single week.
And nobody seems able to stop him. Not an entire group of people, not a police force arresting him. No matter what, Dexter Lumis is just there every single time. Alrighty, well, is there anything else? We've got about 30 seconds left. Anything else you want to throw in here at the end of the show?
The NXT Championship is going to be a triple threat
There we
match.
go. JD, Braun Breaker, and Ilya Dragunov.
Yep. And Dragunov looks really good. He destroyed Zion Quinn, and it was just it's just going to be interesting. I do think that's probably going to be how they're going to change the title to Iliad.
I'm all in on Dragunov, so I'm not going to complain here. But we will figure that out when we look at Halloween Havoc. Well, we have hit our time, so it has been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up, and we will catch you next week where we take a look ahead at the entire Extreme Rules pay-per-view.